most of you know about this podcast interview President Obama did because of his use of the N-word in a conversation about race. You should find this. Whether you support the president or don't support the president, find it and listen to it. It's an interesting conversation. The president being very reflective in a way that you haven't heard him in the past. Even if you don't like him, you'll learn a little bit if you listen to this. Among the things he says is, now that I've got experience as president, I'm fearless.
It's sort of like an athlete. You might slow down a little bit. You might not jump as high as you used to. But I know what I'm doing, and I'm fearless. And when you get to that point,
freedom,
then, and also part of that fearlessness is because you've screwed up enough times.
Sure.
That you know that
it's all happened.
It's all happened. I've been through this.
Right.
I've screwed up.
Right.
I've been in the barrel, tumbling down Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
And I emerged and I lived. And that's always that's such a liberating feeling.
You've spent years covering this president. It's interesting. Now, he's not on a ballot again, so you can candidly say, I've screwed up. I feel liberated. What is the result of it? What happens because of this feeling? What will be different today, tomorrow, the final 18 months of the presidency because of this fearlessness, as he calls it?
I think that's the big question. I mean, it's interesting to hear him talk like this. There are a lot of supporters of President Obama who hoped that he may feel this way after his reelection in 2012, when he knew that he had 4 more years in front of him. They hoped that he would be more fearless, would be free to push back on Republicans more. And we saw that the first 2 years of his second term didn't exactly play out the way that he wanted them to, and a lot of his supporters did. If you look at this summer, I think that we will probably see some answers to how this plays out. You've got action on Cuba. You've got Iran negotiations that are in their final weeks. You've got this trade bill. We got to see if he can get this through on the Hill. But I think on issues of race, which he talked about quite extensively in that interview, things that he can do on his own just through talking, through his travels, I think that's where we should look to see how this fearlessness may play out.
Let's pause a minute on that word, fearlessness. You and I have talked about for years that maybe the greatest asset that Bill Clinton had, somebody who we covered, was his fearlessness.
He liked the high wire better than he liked terra firma.
Now, where did that come from? It came from 12 years as governor and 2 years of attorney general, hanging on to
and losing a big election.
Right, losing a big election and keeping a Republican state, a conservative state, Democratic, making a lot of mistakes. So by the time he came to the Oval Office, he was ready to lead. He was ready to take some big chances. Now, he had a rough couple of years, but he certainly came into office with a sense of fearlessness. Barack Obama is now learning the value of what he didn't have early in his presidency. And by the way, I think Hillary Clinton, that might be one of her biggest detriments, is she doesn't have that fearlessness.